The goal and dream is for one day this to all be a studio.
Upgrade, upgrade. Upgrade, upgrade. Yeah. Upgrade, upgrade. You ready for the update? Upgrade, upgrade. You ready for the new way?
Hey, my name is Matt Johnson, and I'm so excited to introduce you to WhoisMatt Studio 4.0. Now you're probably wondering what I mean by 4.0. And the reason I'm calling it 4.0 is that originally my first ever recording space for YouTube videos was in Dallas, and it was a bedroom slash office that I converted into a filming space, meaning that aside from the one wall that was clear to film at, everything else was pretty messy in that room. Then we moved and we had enough space for me to have a dedicated recording room, which worked well, but it was only 10 feet by 8 feet or so. So I did not have a ton of space to really set up a background or anything like that. And it was good, but because we were renting, I wasn't really able to modify the room at all. After that, we moved again and we bought a house. And so I needed a recording space, of course. So I literally took up half of our master bedroom with all of my recording equipment and sound blankets. And I managed to make a pretty decent looking recording space with the green wall paint that my wife wanted for the master bedroom. So if you're wondering why the background was green in those videos, that was not a stylistic choice on my part. That was to keep my marriage happy. So that's why we went with that. And so that brings us to WhoisMatt Studio 4.0, which, as you can see, is a lot bigger. There's actually like 10 feet behind you as well that I haven't showed you yet. And while this space looks amazing now, it didn't look so amazing back about a year ago whenever we bought this house. This was a workshop that was attached to the main garage of the house, and it had a lot of cheap wood paneling, concrete floors, stained drywall, you name it, there were a lot of issues. And so over the past year or so, I've been working on it. Every few nights I would come out here, tear some wood paneling down, take out some insulation, and then once that was done, I had a large hole here because there used to be a garage door here that went out to the garage, but of course me and my dad, we had to frame up a wall, put that in, and then we had to put in insulation, which thankfully we were able to get rock wool insulation, which if you've done any home building, rock wool is really good for soundproofing. So while this room is by a street, can't hear cars at all. In addition, I also put in a mini split AC unit to keep this room cool because it's not a part of the main house air conditioning. It's on right now. Can you hear it? No, it's fantastic, okay? I leave this thing on all the time and it is super quiet and it keeps the room cool. So just a little side note for you, if you're ever thinking about building out a YouTube space, either in like a back shed or in your garage, etc., mini split system, just do it, okay? Super quiet, super efficient, don't even hear it. I love it. You can record with it on, no sweat. Huge fan of it. Then had to put up new drywall, retexture all of the drywall, including the ceiling to cover up any imperfections that were in it. And at that point, the room was really a blank slate where I could really start to do whatever I wanted to with it. That, of course, led into the next main issue I dealt with, though, which was the sound. As you can hear right now, I think it sounds fantastic in here, but it did not always sound that way. Concrete floors, bare walls, with only an 8-foot ceiling, this room had tons of echo. Welcome to the new studio, and as you can hear, the audio is terrible. Even if I get closer to the microphone, the audio is still terrible. So much echo, so much reverb. It was to the point where I put up sound blankets in here that I'd used in the master bedroom of the house, but because the ceilings are so low and there was no carpet, etc., there was a crazy amount of reverb still happening. So sound blankets wouldn't work, especially because I wanted to go with a lighter aesthetic here, and putting sound blankets all over the walls wouldn't really be a super cool look. So I had to ignore the sound blankets and go with a crap load of acoustic panels from GIK Acoustics. I believe there are 26 in this room, but they helped out a lot. Talking more about sound panels for a second here, I originally thought that I could purchase little square sound panels like this, which, hey, like it does absorb some of the sound, but not a ton. So there's like a little band-aid. It's okay, but if you have a room this big with this much reverb, you have to go more advanced than this. So while I like these, and I think they match the wall color pretty well, I really wanted something more in-depth and thicker. I had a lot of options for things to go with for that. I had purchased some Acoustimax sound panels for the other room, but I'd heard really good things about GIK acoustics, and I knew that they were also thicker. So looking at this GIK acoustic panel, you heard the sound reduction of that thing, but this thing here, hello, it just kills the sound and reverb. I love it. And so what's great about these is you are getting that extra thickness, better absorption, and color-wise, they match the walls pretty closely. I wanted a very white aesthetic for this, and I think that's working well. So yeah, these panels, super sound absorbent. You put enough up in your room, you're gonna hear a huge difference. I'm very, very happy with them. In addition, I put down all of these rugs, many of which have been donated by either my family or friends, or my mom found one in a dumpster and I was like, perfect. It's gonna be all over the place, but I think it looks really cool, has a nice character. And the nice thing is that I can always swap these out as I get bigger rugs or different colored rugs, etc. For right now though, they're doing their job, reducing a lot of the echo and reverb, and I'm very happy about it. Lastly, once I got all these sound panels up, I was still dealing with a lot of echo and slap sound. And so what I ended up doing was investing in some curtains for all of the windows in the house. And these floor-to-ceiling curtains really killed a lot more of the echo. As far as these curtains go, these were purchased from Target, I believe. Lots of Target stuff here. You can't go wrong with buying cheap stuff from Target. And in this case, these are also room darkening shades. So it is daylight right now, but we have a window shade, and then on top of that, the curtain as well. So what's nice is that I can use all purely artificial light in here, and so if I'm filming at night, it's gonna look the same as if I filmed during the day. Of course, I do have the option though, with 4 windows in this room, to be able to open this up and then have some natural light coming in if I want to. But considering that I'm usually filming and recording at night after my child has gone to sleep, usually works better just to have everything covered up and just be using artificial lighting. Speaking of lights, then we had to put up lights. Before there were fluorescent light tubes, which are not the prettiest, and I wanted something that had a good clean light color, so we ended up putting up these lights, which I'm using for this example here because we're just talking about the room, but usually these are off and I have other studio lighting for that. So now that you know how the room has been constructed, let's talk general setup of the room. Of course, first thing you're gonna notice, we have the old Medusa lamp. Why would we not have the iconic lamp that has been in all my videos, right? Gotta be here. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And then in addition, this over here is my old desk that I used to use to edit videos on, etc. in the office, but that has now been replaced with a standing desk, which there's a whole video about, giving you a tour of that as well, linked in the corner and the description if you want to check that out. So now that desk is in here and it's going to be used as a place to put any products or anything else that I'm talking about. Next thing I'm sure you're going to notice is the paper backdrops. I've always wanted paper backdrops, but I didn't have a big enough space for them. Finally had space. So we got the blue, we got the orange, we got white, and I kind of want more. You know, I kind of want like green screen, cut green. There's so many things. I could go crazy with this, okay? But we're starting with 3, and I really love the look of this, especially once you shine a light on it. It looks really cool. Also, there's a plant. Bought a plant. To be clear, this is fake from Target, because yeah, there's no natural light coming in. Rachel is now informing me that I could actually invest in sunlight light bulbs that would provide photosynthesis to plants in here, but I'm not trying to grow things, okay? I just wanted a cool background thing, so we went with that. Now let's talk rest of the room. As you've seen, there's this wider spot, but one of the main reasons I wanted this room was the length of the room. So if you're coming with me over here, we have storage for all of my things, which this isn't never really gonna be on camera, I don't think. If it is, it's no big deal, but not super aesthetically pleasing, just tons and tons of bags and cases and things that I use often, as well as a charging shelf, sliders, tripods, monopods, random other accessories, etc. But then we keep going, And there's more to the room over here. What? Okay, so this is so cool. So we have more sound panels here because I'm usually talking in this direction. So I really wanted to make sure that the sound would be absorbed and not be reflecting back whenever I'm talking. So pretty open over here. The rugs become significantly more eclectic. At this point here, we have rooster rugs, chicken rugs. I just needed rugs for the floor. Okay, let's not worry about what we're using here, okay? These might get replaced eventually, but hey, it's absorbing sound right now, and it adds character. So that leads us into my filming area, which this is all a filming area, but you know what I'm saying, where I'm usually sitting on camera. So, main thing I want you to notice here, look at the depth of this room. It's crazy. I love it, okay? It's just great. So much depth here. This is the main thing I saw. As soon as I saw this house and I saw this room, I said, I love this depth because I have so much room to add different layers in the background. I say that having not really set up any layers yet, but hey, studio's a work in progress, okay? This is all version 1.0 of Studio 4.0. So, of course, C-stand, holding boom arm, holding microphone. FYI, this is actually a painter's pole that I bought at Home Depot in 2009. Still growing strong 13 years later. If you need a cheap boom pole, well, to be clear, that you can buy a cheap one on Amazon these days. But back in the day, there were not many cheap boom poles, so had to get creative. Talking specific microphones and recorders that I'm using, this is the Deity S Mic 2, which super clean, super crisp. Love how this microphone sounds. That's running via XLR down to the Zoom F3, which, dude, for YouTube recording, just turn it on, press record. You know you're getting good 32-bit float audio. Love it for that. Don't get me wrong, I still love the Tascam X8, but that's more for weddings where I need more advanced inputs, etc. For YouTube, just having this thing ready to go at any point, really, really magical. Video recording wise, I'm using the Sony a7S III, which, come on, fantastic camera. Absolutely love it. That also has a 24mm f1.4 on the front of it, which I'm lying to you, it actually doesn't right now. It's got a 16-35, but that's because we're using the 24mm to record this video. So normally that's on here, but nice little f1.4 if I want to get really bokeh-licious with the background. Really, really great. Next, of course, we have the Aperture 120D light, workhorse light. Absolutely love it. Kind of want to get the 300 or the 600. Total overkill, I know, but could be a lot of fun, especially with a room this size. I would love to do maybe a book light setup of some sort, but for now, this is working well with the big softbox. Manfrotto tripod still working good. Also from 2010. Still great, love it. Small HD monitor for viewing myself. This is the Focus 7, which I don't think they make anymore, unfortunately. And then to help out with the fill, I have a golden reflector on this side that's just picking up a little bit of that key light and helping bounce it onto the other side of my face, which is good. This right here is a RGB LED light. Currently it's just set to white. And I have this custom cardboard wall that I put on it so it would not be shining in my face, but just into the background. This is also what I used in the previous room setup. I just brought it into here like this, and so it provides a little bit more light into the background. Speaking of lights, we have a lot more lights to talk about. Lighting wise here, I already told you about the 120D and the little RGB LED that's just filling up light in the background. And my main thinking for this space is I wanted to go for a lighter and airier feel to things. If I was to think of someone that I was trying to at least loosely emulate, it would be MKBHD. With his very white, bright studio setups, more vibrant colors, more vibrant lighting, that's kind of what I was wanting to do because I never really have had the option for that in the past. Version 1.0 Studio was just me in my rental house with gross brown walls that I had to work with. Studio 2.0, still gross brown walls that I was renting. Studio 3.0, green walls that my wife painted. And she's filming me right now, so I cannot tell you if I love them or not because she's right here and she'll kill me. They were okay, but I wanted something lighter, and so this space, I can make it as light as I want, which is really cool. So just a nice pop of color over here, shine a light on it. This is the Nanlite Forza 60B. It is bicolor. I'm not using it for bicolor. The main reason is that I have another Nanlite Forza 60 that I wanted a little bit brighter. So I have the B and I have the 60, and I figured that I would just set them up like this. So Forza 60B is shining here, providing a little bit of cool color onto the paper And then we have the other Forza 60 up here, which I can turn on, and that usually acts as a hair light for my hair. Lastly, we have the Aperture 60X, which whenever I'm not using this as a wedding spotlight, wow, does it make for a fantastic background light. So I've paired it with the Spotlight Mini Zoom, which is just a massive, makes the thing look like a bazooka, but I absolutely love it. So that is shining in this way. I clipped a little colored gel to the front of it. I could cut it. I'm planning on cutting it. I just haven't gotten around to it because, like I said, I literally just got this set up very recently and I've filmed it like 3 times now. So we're still dialing stuff in, but I have a lot of other colors. I like the orange. So with it, it has a drop-in filter that I currently have set to this very fun sort of wavy line setup here. Before I had like lightning coming out of this light in the previous setup, now we have this cool lighting backdrop here. Lastly, we have one more light, and that is this guy that's hiding up here. Oh, this is the Sunwell Sensei Tube ST50, and it is an RGB tube light that is pretty darn awesome. It can do any number of colors, crazy large amount of them, but I have to confess, currently, I'm just using it with white. Sorry about that. Oh. So I plug it in up here, turns on, and that provides just a little more fill light for the room. Now, let me turn off these overhead lights and you can see how the setup looks. So as you can see, it's a little bit darker in here now, and my key light's over there, so it's not shining directly on me. But what's nice is that I feel like I finally have a space where I can have the color pop that I want, along with the white backdrop that I want, and everything is still really customizable. Like, this is one setup, but I could literally move this paper backdrop over here. I could move the plant out of the way. I could change this entire color light here or remove it completely. I love that I have the ability to shift things around. And so my thinking is that eventually I would love to have everything on wheels of some sort, have all the C-stands on wheels, have this desk on wheels, or maybe invest in one of those standing desks that has wheels, and then I can literally just move everything around this space to exactly where I want it to be and have it be a very modular space where, depending on what I'm recording, I can set up in different ways. So yeah, this is WhoisMatt Studio 4.0. I am so excited to have such a usable and variable space like this with so much versatility. I don't entirely know what I'm going to do with it moving forward. There's a lot of options here, but it is a blank canvas with good acoustics, and that's all you can ever really hope for, right? Anything else above that is just gravy. So yeah, super, super excited to be making a lot of videos for you in this space. If you have any questions or need any clarification about anything at all, please leave me a comment down below. Would love to answer. Please check out my standing desk guide as well. That is linked in the corner and in the description. And yeah, have a great day.
Upgrade, upgrade. Upgrade, upgrade. Yeah. Upgrade, upgrade.